Hey guys, today I'm going to be watching a video by liberal Hivemind about a company that has had enough and chooses to fire all their woke employees. Let's get it.
Hey guys, welcome to the Liberal Hive Mind, a channel solely focused on exposing the abundant hypocrisy of the left. Of course, here's the meme of the day brought to you by Hivemind.com.
Thanks for welcoming us in. Let me take a look at this meme real quick. Blank is too expensive. We need the government to fix blank. Government gets involved. Blank costs skyrocket. Blank is too expensive. We need the government to fix blank. Government gets involved. Blank costs skyrocket. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's a very, very relatable.
I tell you, this is one of my favorite things in life, and no, it's not chocolate pudding, it's not chocolate milk, it's not cake. No, it's none of that. It's not what you'd expect as a typical answer to that question. No, my favorite thing in life is watching idiotic social revolutionary leftoids getting slapped in the face with their own frickin' stupidity. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Is that not the greatest thing known to mankind? I'll tell you it is. And the beauty of this being my drug of sorts is that I'm always getting my fix, you know?
I don't know that I would say it's my greatest joy. There's definitely some schadenfreude there, the enjoyment of seeing people you dislike have negative things happen. I don't know that that's a good thing though necessarily. Yeah, so I get what he's saying. I don't want bad things to happen to people, but I also recognize that like it's sometimes necessary depending on what you mean by bad things. Like somebody getting fired is necessary if they are not contributing to the company, or if the company just can't afford to pay them. Then yeah, that's necessary. I don't want people to go through that pain, but pain is a learning tool. So hopefully those people can take that and learn and become better, more well-rounded people on the other side of it.
Most addictions is kind of hard to keep up, but in this case, oh, I got a healthy dose pretty consistently. And today, honestly, it's a mega dose. It's a dose that will likely last months. I won't need a re-up for a while. No, I am satisfied, satiated for quite some time. I gotta show you guys this Joe Rogan clip, and of course, let's just talk about these overarching concepts, mostly related
Haven't watched
to
a Joe
young
Rogan clip in a while now.
Stupidity.
Let's see what
we
he's
got some
got.
stuff to get into, so let's roll the tape. All right, friends, so here's a video that popped up on my timeline, and I think actually it's important to preface that this is not a real Joe Rogan video. It's one of those.
Oh, I'm gonna move myself real quick. There we go. There. Now I'm not covering up his hooded figure. All right, let's keep going.
Trickster videos where they edit it to make it seem as if Joe Rogan's calling to put it up, and then they put an AI Joe Rogan voice on top of it. But nonetheless, it's a nice kind of overview of the topic. Just take a look.
Check this out. This is wonderful. Starbucks workers in Seattle are colliding with harsh economic reality as repeated strikes and escalating demands trigger store closures instead of concessions. Baristas organized under Workers United walked out demanding higher wages, increased staffing, and expanded benefits, pushing for raises as high as 64% immediately and 77% over 3 years.
That is a wild demand. 60, what did you say, 64? I think that's what he said. 64% immediately is wild. I don't know how they didn't think that this exact thing would happen, that stores would be shut down with that. Companies can't afford to be paying you over 50% more than they're already paying you. That's a huge cost increase. And not only that, he mentioned that they were also demanding more staffing. So not only are you paying everyone 60-some% more, so over 50% more, but you're also bringing in more, or requiring them to bring in more people, to hire on more people. That I don't, God, it's like these people haven't ever managed anything before, don't understand any sort of like money in, money out. I know they think Starbucks is a big company so they can just afford to pay infinite money, but that's not how it works. It really isn't.
But as sales declined and pressure mounted, Starbucks responded with a sweeping restructuring plan under CEO Brian Niccol, shutting down multiple unionized locations and cutting corporate staff. Several Seattle stores, including high-profile Reserve locations, closed despite protests, with the company citing poor financial performance rather than union activity. Workers, many unable to sustain unpaid strikes, returned to jobs only to find their stores permanently shuttered, with no transfer options offered.
Oh, I am unironically laughing behind the microphone. I'm struggling to get this segment going because it's just too damn good.
I gotta say, I'm gonna go back, rewind a little bit. Back to he was mentioning that they were unionized locations. I like the idea of unions in theory. Like, I like the idea of people that are working together, coming together and saying, hey, we can all kind of advocate for ourselves and work together here in our advocation so that everyone gets kind of the best working conditions possible. I like that idea in theory. In theory, every union that I've ever been a part of, every union that I've ever interacted with has been corrupt to the core. It has been an external company that's been essentially hired to work as the union. They take money from every worker. In my experience, they do very little to actually help the people that are working there. There was one union where, through the union efforts, they drastically increased the amount of people working, but that means that hours had to be cut because you had more people working, not more people working at a time, just more people employed, and the union took a flat amount of money out of everyone's paycheck. So the more people that they had working there, the more money the union gets. So they want as many people working there as possible, and they did almost nothing to actually protect against any managers that might be going against the rules, or actually making sure that things are working well. In fact, I remember one time when a manager was requiring me to do something that was absolutely against the rules, was not how it was supposed to be. And my union rep told me to just do it anyways, and then we'll file a complaint afterwards. Not, oh, we want to make sure you're not abused or used wrongly. That's not what we're going to do. We're not going to actually protect you. We just want to punish them after they've already done it. It's like, no, maybe if you could step in and actually say something and stop him from doing that. Anyways, it's quite the tangent, but in my experience, being a part of a union has been terrible. In fact, I was in a union at a point where I didn't want to be in the union, but for some reason they were legally able to force everyone to pay dues to the union, even if you chose not to be in the union. So at that point, it's like, well, now there's no point not being in the union. At least if I join, then I kind of have a vote, but they're going to take my money anyways. It's essentially another group of people that just want to be the government taking my money.
Probably a better way to describe it. It's just too poetic. And I gotta tell you, it gets a little bit old in this industry, being right all the time. I'm not saying that out of ego. I'm one of the few political commentator who doesn't lead with ego. I never pretend as if I'm the most educated, most intelligent mind of all time, who knows absolutely everything about everything, and every opinion that I state is the gospel truth.
I don't know who he's referring to that might actually act that way. Of all of the people that I watch or listen to, I don't think I've noticed any of them actually behaving that way, except maybe in jest, like people jokingly saying that they're the best, they're the smartest. I don't know anyone, at least on the more, in the right side internet space, that acts that way. But maybe I'm insulated.
I'm very much just a normal dude. I get things wrong, I try my best, but time and time again, I'm just proven right. I mean, maybe I should grow my ego a little bit. Of course not, because honestly,
No.
it's less to do with my intellectual ability and more to do with just common frickin' sense. You know, it's like I always
Yes.
say, you got all these big brain leftoid economists, all these big brain Democrats and leftists who stayed in school for 20 years. They've got 7 different PhDs, $7 billion in student debt. They're the smartest people ever. And time again, my mechanic, the guy who does general construction contracting work for me, time and time again, tends to have a much better track record than all the big brain supposed experts. And this is especially more true when it comes to these young propagandized kids, these far left socialist revolutionaries. You want to appear like the smartest person on the planet, then whatever the green-haired septum ring people are saying, just adopt the opposite opinion. It's kind of like the inverse Kramer index or whatever you call it. Let's call this the inverse gender non-conforming person index.
It is really strange how often the visuals, like someone's aesthetic, goes with their politics in that way. He said the green-haired, septum-piercing people, and I know exactly the type he's referring to. I don't. There needs to be more studies done to show how this correlates, because it's wild. It's so weird to me to be able to just look at someone and say, oh, with about 95% certainty, I know all of your politics and all of your points of view, because you just are following along with that crowd.
And you're gonna have a pretty stellar track record. You're gonna be right about a whole lot of things. You'll be really feeling yourself. And this is exactly one of those cases. And really, I think it all comes down to common sense, but also humility. You know, I think a lot of the times people over-attribute intelligence as if intelligence is the most important factor to analyzing daily events, the news cycle, economics, yada yada, whatever it is. But in this particular case, and in many cases with economics, or the conversation between socialism, capitalism, what it really comes down to is humility. Are you an entitled brat or not? And that's really the problem with these young leftoids. You know, you could have 140 Mensa frickin' IQ, Ivy League degree, an absolute big brain genius. You're really good at solving math equations. But if you don't have humility, you're gonna get so many things wrong. And so many of these young leftists, they lack humility. They believe they're entitled to something. And that's exactly what this is. These Starbucks employees, they believed as if they were entitled to more, to the extent that they thought they could blackmail the company into essentially doing their bidding. And instead, what did they get? A fast track to the unemployment line.
Oof, man, we are not entitled to anything. We are not entitled to anything but the work that our own bodies is able to produce. And even that, the government takes some of it, so they think we're not fully entitled to our own labor. But we aren't entitled to anything. I don't understand where people get this idea that they are entitled to something that someone else makes, that someone else does. We're not entitled to the labor of others, which is why I'm against the idea of healthcare as a human right, because you are not entitled to someone else giving you healthcare. It would be great if we were a prosperous enough country that everyone could afford healthcare without any problems. I want people to be healthy. I want people to have safety, but it's not a right. You're not entitled to it. You don't deserve it. You deserve what you purchase. If you buy something and you don't get what you purchase, sure, you deserve what you purchase. That's a problem. But you're not entitled to other people's labor.
And it's really not surprising why. You don't get to dictate your worth in the job market by throwing a frickin' tantrum. I deserve this, because... No, everything in life is earned. And if you don't like the current situation that you're in, well then the proper response is to develop skills that are in high demand and then to work your butt off. But no, what these people want is to extort a higher standard of living. Well, my friends, that is not the way the world works. And actually, speaking of these entitled far left
But it has been the way the world works for a long, well, I don't know about a long time, but it has been the way the world works for a while. The culture is shifting now, but for quite a while, throwing a hissy fit like this worked. This was how things worked. We're finally getting back on track to some sanity, to where it's no longer working that way. We're getting back to reality and away from fairy dreamland.
Socialists. I thought I'd play this clip. This is a viral moment from Caleb Hammer's financial audit. I think it kind of speaks to the general far-left young socialist archetype that I'm referencing here.
We just don't really get political like
You're
that.
a year in.
I
think both sides are evil for politics. Like, no matter what.
That's true. I'm honestly kind of with him on that point. Like, it's all just bad. Like, I don't...
Extremism is bad, but even still.
It's just bad.
Huh?
It's all just bad. Like, I agree that, like, the three-letter
Some have
agencies
good
aren't
intentions.
great. I don't think the government really is out to help the common man. I think it's out to help billionaires get richer. Like, I agree
Hey,
with
we
him
have the
to
most
that.
progressive income tax system in the entire Western world, to be clear. Federal.
Okay, why is it not
be
helping
better.
me? Why has the system not helped anybody I know?
System.
Why is
Go
the
get a better
system-
job. That's your choice to get the education you wanted.
Thank you, Caleb.
What did you get? What was your degree?
I got an associate's in marketing.
And that's the system's fault that you decided to get an associate's in marketing?
I don't know how, I've never looked into the marketing world and how well that pays, or how well, how much education is really needed there. But I would assume you'd need more than an associate's to be really good, or to like really land a good job in marketing. I feel like an associate's doesn't get you much more than a high school degree in just about any field. I could be wrong. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm open to being wrong. But I'm pretty sure I'm right, that an associate's is barely looked at as anything more than like a high school degree.
It's an interesting choice. You have a little bit of agency. I'll agree there's some interesting things that, like, segregation stuff, not good. Government system, bad, not good. You're in a position where you can pretty much do anything and everything. You have agency. I don't want to hear the system doesn't help you. Yes, in our capitalism where our stock market is the best in the world, people get very wealthy with their unrealized gains. That is true in the ownership of companies that they start or invest in. That is very true. But also, the median American has more disposable income than any other Western country. That means after all the necessary expenses, essentially healthcare, all that good stuff, okay? Disposable income, you got it all. The system didn't prevent you from getting a bachelor degree. The system didn't tell you you have to go work in card games. System help you? What do you mean? You don't contribute. You don't contribute.
God, he just lays it out so honestly. He just tells them how it is. It's great. Thank you, Caleb Hammer. You are doing great work.
If we're just being honest, system, if we're just being honest, you do not contribute to the
At
tax.
least I pay my taxes.
No, that's what I was saying. You don't contribute to the tax system in this country.
No.
You're part of the lower 50%, which is not a bad thing. That's not a shameful thing, but the lower 50% that contribute less than 1% of all net federal income taxes in the country. 50% contribute less than 1. We have the most progressive income tax system. How do all the European countries pay for all the good stuff? VAT taxes, sales taxes, national sales taxes. That's a flat tax. That hurts people like you. Okay? That's how they pay for the good stuff. Federal income tax, we have the most progressive Western income tax. Okay? So system not helping you, we barely ask for you.
Yes, we do. And for a long time, I've been of the opinion that we should probably rework that. Hot take, our tax system should be a little less progressive. I remember all the way back in high school, man, discussing with people about, like, why don't we have a flat percentage, the same percent for everyone? And people would argue, the argument would be, but then the people with more money aren't contributing as much. It's like, yeah, they wouldn't be contributing as much. That's true. But they'd be contributing more than someone else. If I make $100 and I give 30% to the government, and someone else makes $1,000 and they give 30% to the government, there's contributing 10 times more than me without needing to have the progressive tax. I don't know. I know that's a hot take. Feel free to disagree with me in the comments.
To do anything. You pay such a minuscule percentage, and what degree you decided to get was on you. You're going to make me sound like the most right-winger in the world talking about this, but you're just so beyond victim mindseted in this. When I heard the system,
it's pretty interesting to watch Caleb Hammer. I've seen some of his posts on Twitter as well. X, whatever it's called now. It's really interesting to watch his kind of evolution as he's realizing that the left wing has run so far to the left, that he is being categorized as right wing all the time. He doesn't seem to see himself as a right winger, but on X he made a post about what was it about? Oh, about fertility rates and like having babies and seeing it as a good thing for American civilization to have babies and continue reproduction into the future. And people are saying that that is a far right talking point. It's like, what? Baby's bad. Okay.
Help me.
I don't think
that's
it's
just the most backwards
fault.
thoughts.
I'm not blaming
You just
the
asked
government.
why wasn't the system helping me?
Why, not me specifically. Why are they
said
not
that.
helping anybody?
Lady, the progressive tax system is helping everybody. It is helping the people in the lower rungs of society. That's myself included, by the way. I'm not in some high paying position. It is helping the lower class by not taking money from them. You keep more of your money than anyone else. There's lots of people that get a big enough tax refund that they get all of the money back from what they paid into taxes the entire year.
What do you mean not helping anyone? 50% of our literal federal expenditures in this country go to social programs. 50%.
Okay, let's take
50%.
Oh God, that's a good point. Half of the money that we spend in this country is going to helping people. Well, I mean, I'd say probably about 10% is actually making it to the people that it's intended to, and the rest is being eaten up by fraud. But on paper, the government is spending a lot of money on helping people in the lowest parts of society.
Not helping anyone, 50%.
You see it every single time, right? It's nothing but an entitled victim mindset. And the funniest part is that it's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy. You know, you've got these young individuals who are unhappy with their current standard of living, their purchasing power, their ability to get ahead. And instead of putting their heads down, working hard, instead of smacking the anvil, going through the damn crucible, they want it handed to them. Give it to me. The federal government should give me what I want. And the irony there is, the more you grow government, the more burdensome or progressive that the tax structure becomes, the worse off these people become. It's counterintuitive. The answer is economic freedom and hard work, not unions, not big government. Well, we need more social programs. Yeah, that's exactly what we need.
We need fraud out of our social programs so that they're actually being used for what they're intended to. I would have much less issue with giving money to the government if it actually went towards something tangible. Yeah, it'd be great if it's going to things that are good for me, like making sure the roads are paved without potholes and stuff. That would be great. But if they were at least going to help people that genuinely needed help, rather than being eaten up by fraud, eaten up by bureaucracy, eaten up by middlemen, then I would be much more willing to pay into it.
Healthcare is expensive. The solution is more government. What does that lead to? Somali daycare and hospice fraud? Medicaid and Medicare fraud? Bureaucratic bloat? Unaffordable trash socialist style healthcare? Give me a frickin' break. The solution is always more freedom, less government, more competition. You know, healthcare would be a whole lot cheaper if it wasn't just a few insurance companies and healthcare providers basically rigging the system, paying off politicians, and artificially crafting endless growth. No, the solution is less government. government, putting the power back in the hands of the people. It's like a downward spiral, self-fulfilling prophecy. A bunch of useless, lazy people with no skills, people who don't want to get their hands dirty, people who don't want to go through the grind of busting their friggin' tail off. No, they want everything handed to them. They'd rather have a...
I mean, I want everything handed to me. That would be great. I'd love for someone to just hand me $1 million. That'd be phenomenal, but I don't expect it. You can be wishful and hopeful and want to and try to pursue something that's unlikely to happen, but you don't expect it to happen. You're not entitled to that thing, even if it's something you really want.
Scapegoat, a cop-out. The problem is the evil billionaires. Now, the evil billionaires must succumb to our demands, our intimidation, our blackmail, and give us what we want. Well, that leads to two things. In the corporate world, that leads to failed attempts to unionize and getting laid off. And in a governmental sense, it leads to punitive tax measures punishing productivity in the pursuit of success and a lower standard of living for all. The pursuit from these young leftoids is that everybody should have everything, but their ideology time and time again leads to everybody having nothing. And yet they just can't see it. They're blinded by their delusions of grandeur, as if they know best. Your green-haired 20-something-year-olds working at Starbucks because frankly, probably your parents failed you and had you pursue a useless career or non-existent career, and now you want to get bailed out of your situation. But what you should do is develop a little bit of humility, accept your own failed decision-making skills. You put yourself in that situation. You didn't work hard enough. You didn't develop skills that are relevant in the workplace, and so now you're a basic laborer, and you have nobody to blame but yourself. You're not entitled to magical pay raises. And if you have an issue with affordability, the problem is not billionaires who are creating wealth and creating jobs. No, the problem is Washington rigging the game. The problem is inflation, mass migration, putting downward pressure on your wages.
He's like living in my mind right now. I fully agree with his diagnosis on what's causing these problems. Get out of my head, dude.
Illegal migrants illegally competing for those jobs and again pushing down your wages. Burdensome regulations, making housing more expensive. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. The solution's staring these people straight in the face, and yet they just can't see it. No, it's always billionaires. The answer to everything is unionization. But that, my friends, is a path paved to hell. We need to bring back common sense thinking. We need to bring back personal accountability, hard work, fulfilling one's own destiny, and getting government and collective bargaining the hell out of the way. Anyway,
I've been thinking lately about people's seemingly lack of understanding of finance, and not just finance, but many of our structures that our society is built on. People don't understand money. People seem to think that we live in a post-scarcity world where you can just make something out of nothing. You can just give infinite away. And I'm trying to understand that because at a very young age, people learn the idea of like, things don't just appear. Things don't just disappear. You know, the idea of like object permanence happens at a young age. And so I've been trying to think and understand why people seem to be lacking this understanding of like you create wealth through your work. You create value by doing something valuable. And I'm wondering if it has to do with how complex our society has become and how detached people are from the basics of it. People don't grow their food, so they don't see what is needed to actually get that beef, to get corn, to get your flour at the store. In fact, so often now people aren't even using those core ingredients. They're just buying meals or buying food that's already made. So we're so removed from the processes that actually lead to us having this seeming abundance that people don't understand where that abundance comes from anymore. I'm wondering if that's kind of the core of it. I'm going to continue thinking on that, and maybe I'll try and do a more deep dive into something like that in the future. Maybe if I can really come to a good conclusion on it. But anyways, we're there at the end of the video, so thank you, liberal mind or liberal hive mind. I appreciate it. To everyone that's still here, please like, subscribe, leave a comment, critique, roast me if you want for my terrible takes, and I'll see you in the next one. Oh no, you've ended up in my den. You must think that this is the end, but you have no need to fret. There's still more to come yet. Click on subscribe to let YouTube know just how far this channel should go. More will come later, or if you so need, click on another video to see more of me in your feed.